Hello, my foodie friends. It's me, your friendly neighborhood kid witch, Tara. And I'd like to welcome you to the next installment of Recipes for the Cooking Impaired. Cooking Impaired. For those of you that are returning, thanks for coming back. I hope you like today's recipe. Those of you that are new, it's nice to meet you. Thanks for coming. Before we get started, if you would like to be part of the foodie fun, hit that subscribe button, hit that little bell so you get all the notifications. And let's go ahead and delve into this. Today, we are going to make Tera's monster cookies. Yes, I know there are tons and tons of recipes out there for monster cookies, and some of them are very similar, and some of them are ginormously different. But I think you're going to like this one. For one, we're going to cut them out into actual little monsters. Yeah, they're not just going to be round cookies like everybody does. We're cutting them into little gingerbread men, women, / little ghosty things, and we're going to make them look like little monsters. It's going to be so cute. And two, this is not a super overly sweet cookie. There are so many cookies out there where the sweetness level is just gag overpowering. These are nice, subtle, and if you're doing the sugar substitute, or even with the sugar, they're not going to be so much that you're going to be like, I don't know if I want to give this to a kid, or I am going to a party and there's going to be a bazillion snacky snacks, but I really wanted to eat some monster cookie. I got you covered. So let's go ahead and take a look at the recipe so we can get started. 1 package of cheesecake pudding mix. Now, in this recipe, you're not going to taste a ton of the cheesecake flavor, but it helps with balance. A lot of the other recipes will say use vanilla pudding. I'm not going to fault you if you want to do that. Totally fine. But this is my version, so I'm recommending cheesecake pudding mix. I use the sugar-free because I'm also sharing it with some diabetic folks, and there's already going to be carbs in it with flour, so and with the M&Ms. So let's go ahead and continue on, and we will see what we got. 1 cup of softened butter, which is about 2 cubes. 2/3 cup of brown sugar or 2 sticks, cubes. Okay, some people don't say cubes, they say sticks. I wrote sticks. 2 long linear things. They have little slashies. Makes 1 cup of softened butter. And to soften this, if you don't remember to take it out the night before, put it in the microwave for about 10 seconds or so. That'll soften it up. But make sure you put it in a bowl or on a plate or something. Otherwise, you're going to end up with a mess everywhere. 2/3 cup of brown sugar or substitute. So I did a sugar substitute. Swerve, which is made with, noises. Which is made with like your stevia blend, just to kind of help bring down some of the sugar content. 1/2 teaspoon of vanilla extract. Now, if you like your cookies to be a little more vanilla-y, you can change this from 1/2 teaspoon to 1 teaspoon. Do not go any further than that because it will be overpowering. In this recipe that we're going to make, I'm only going to do 1/2 teaspoon. But you can go up to 1 full teaspoon if you like having more of a rich vanilla flavor in your mix. 2 cups of flour. I'd recommend all-purpose flour. 1 cup of M&Ms. You're going to put those on the side. We're putting those puppies on top. We're not going to mix them in the mix because then for 2 reasons. 1, you end up overpowered with M&Ms. 2, it will make it impossible to cut our people out. Our monster people. So we're going to decorate it with the M&Ms at the end. Candied eyes, and you want at least one for each cookie. I'm going to plan on making a few that have 3 eyes because they're monsters. But at least 1 eye. And again, we're going to put that in at the end right before we cook it. 1 egg, 1 1/4 cup of old-fashioned rolled oats. This helps with the fiber factor, which helps cut down the net carb in what we're eating, which is really great for those that are diabetic. So throwing that out there, that's very helpful. And 1 teaspoon of baking soda, and very last is sprinkles. You don't have to use sprinkles if you don't want to. I'm going to be using sprinkles that are of the Halloween-y persuasion. But you put them on right before you cook them. You can add it into the mix. If you're going to do that, you're going to want to do like the whole little container of sprinkles mixed in. But I feel like it kind of makes the colors blend, and then you're end up with kind of a murky mess. So for that reason, I recommend putting them on top. Now, for my Metric fans, I got you covered. Don't worry, I am here for you, my friends. When I said double up your vanilla extract, for you guys, instead of 5 milliliters, it's going to be 10 milliliters of vanilla extract. So let's put that out there. You're done. Alright guys, let's go ahead and head into the kitchen and actually start making this delicious cookie delight. Alright my foodie friends, are you guys ready to make monster cookies? Tera's monster cookies. Alright, so as most things, you start with your dry ingredients. So you put in our flour. And this one's all-purpose flour. You can use wheat flour, but I like the all-purpose better. We're going to add in our pudding recipe, and like I said before, I'm doing cheesecake, sugar-free cheesecake pudding. You don't pre-make the pudding, you just put in the powder. Wonderful. And our baking soda. Now, baking soda, 1 teaspoon. And then next, we're going to do our 2/3 cup brown sugar or substitute. I did a brown sugar substitute this time. And although I say it is a group effort. We want to say thank you again to our lovely hand model for being there for us while the arm and shoulder are recuperating. I know this is taking forever, believe me. It's annoying, but it's good to have friends that are willing to help. So she's just stirring it about, breaking up the crumbles before we add our last dry item. All right, now we're going to add our oats. And we'll stir it up again. Do. Now for this one, we're going to do things a little different. Once we have the mix and the dough all together, we're going to be rolling it out so we can make little gingerbread-esque people that are going to be our monsters. And then we'll put the M&Ms and the candied eyes on top afterwards. Kind of gives you a chance to kind of mess around with it a bit. It's a lot harder to do if you already have the M&Ms in there, so you can't make shapes. Nothing wrong with making regular circle-esque, cookies, but we're going to do something a little fun. All right, so next is our 1/2 teaspoon of vanilla. Again, like I usually say, pure is better, but I didn't have pure. I had an imitation, so it will still add the extra flavoring we need, so that's okay. Okay. And then our 1 egg. And best if it's room temperatured, not hot. Don't, take it out like 9 or 10 hours before cooking. That would not be great. We're just going to stir that up a little bit. We also have a mixer hooked up once we have all of the wet stuff together. All right, and last but not least, our softened butter. So if you do not remember to get the butter out right away from the fridge, it's okay. Just put it in the microwave for a couple seconds so it softens up. Preferably in a jar so your microwave does not get covered in butter. I would recommend using unsalted or one, since it's 2 sticks, or 1 salted, 1 unsalted, because you don't want too much salt and it kind of throws off the flavoring of your mix. Okay, so we're going to keep mixing that up. All right, so we're going to go ahead and blend it with a wonderful electric mixer. If you don't have one of those, you can do the old-fashioned whisk style. That is fine. But using the electric one seems to make things faster. Another recommendation, although it wasn't in the ingredient mix, is you can mix your butter and your brown sugar together before putting it in the dry mix as an option also. Kind of saves on time a bit. All right, we're going to keep working on this. Okay, so what we're doing is we got as much out of the electric mixer as we can, and now doing hand mixing. And again, of course, hands are fully washed, they're clean, they're ready to go. And this is just a way to kind of get the last of the dry ingredients mixed in well with the butter and egg so that it is nice and squished together. Don't worry about if it makes a mess. The electric mixer is notorious for that. And except for the fact that I'm showing you what we're doing and we made a mess, otherwise anybody that's having your delicious dish and your items, they're not going to know how dirty the kitchen got while you were making things. It's all part of the process. All right, so we're going to mix this up a little bit more and we'll be right back. So much better. Okay, so as you can see, the dough's been kneaded. It's just about ready. Once you have it fully kneaded, we're going to put it in the fridge for about 10 minutes before we take it out and make our little people. At this time, if you have not preheated your oven to 350, go ahead and do that while your dough is chilling, and then we'll be back. Okay, so since this isn't like a traditional sugar cookie recipe with it having the oats and such in there, we're going to go ahead and put a little bit of greasing on the inside of our cookie cutters to make it easier to mold and then release from the mix. We're using just Crisco, but you could use coconut oil if you would like, but nothing real sloppy wet. Like, I wouldn't use vegetable oil that you pour onto a paper towel or something, just because it's going to make the cookies too moist. Again, if you haven't heated up your oven yet, 350, we're going to be rolling out the dough and stamping our cookies. Now, before you roll out, always put a little bit of flour on your surface This keeps the dough from sticking as much. I'm going to put a little bit out at a time. This actually is going to yield quite a few cookies. We have 2 different cookie cutouts that we're going to use. And also put some flour on the bowling pin. Again, keeps it from sticking. Okay. Now, if you've left it in the fridge a little too long so it's extra cold, it might take a little bit of extra maneuvering and rolling for it to kind of warm up a little bit and to squish and meld together the way it needs to. Keep in mind we are making this with oats in it, which does make it a little more challenging than if it was done with just the plain sugar cookie adage. You put your little greased people on. And we only have 2 different kinds that we're going to be just making with what we have, and then we'll squish them down and move them onto the pan. Before you move it to the pan, remember to either have the pan greased or lined with parchment. We are using parchment. All right, here are our first 2. We're going to keep going until we have this pan completely covered in little beastie creatures, little monsters. And then before we put them in the oven, we're going to decorate them with the M&Ms and the goofy googly eyes. All right, so this is how many we have so far. We're going to keep making them. We still have quite a bit of dough left. But I'm going to go ahead and start decorating these ones. Then we'll get another pan out for the googly-eyed wonderful monsters. So we use up all the dough. Alright guys, so this is the pre-cooked display. You can put your M&Ms, sprinkles on however you want, eyeballs however you want. But since we did the sugar cookie cutouts for this, we have some that are kind of almost ghosty monsters, and then some that are humanoid monsters. You know, all different. Some have 1 eye, some have 2, some have 3. There's no rhyme or reason, right or wrong. This is also a fun activity if you were to decide to do it with a group. You can cut your little monster pieces out and then have your party guests or friends or kids decorate it. But now we're going to put it in the oven. And yeah, we're going to put it in for 15 to 25 minutes. So we'll check it at the 15-minute mark, because we don't want to overcook them, but we definitely want them fully cooked since they have egg in them. Okay, here they are completed. Just slightly browning around the sides. With it having the brown sugar in it, you want to be really careful because they can burn really fast and there's not always a lot of a heads up. But they turned out so cute. So cute. Another option for these, if you decided you wanted to do an icing over them and then decorate them, that totally is fine. I didn't do that mainly because it's just makes it too sweet for me. So enjoy your wonderful monster cookies. I hope you like them, and they are as delicious as these ones are going to be in my mouth. Wahahaha. For all those that celebrate it, happy Halloween. And for those that don't, I hope you have a wonderful autumn festival. All right, guys. Love you. Bye.